Okay, so the Lord once was speaking to my heart about our culture and the environment that we are around, hyper focusing on how we look, and especially as a woman, as a girl, and raising a little one, a daughter. I think that this is so important because it speaks to all of us, even though when we want to admit it or not, it really does affect everyone, every woman out there in the world. And just being a part of the culture, being younger, I see there's just so much alterations, and it's really unfortunate, because I do think that there is what's going on right now is, God is calling people out of this fake facade of like what it means to be truly happy, and how, the physical aspects of, how we perceive ourselves and how we carry ourselves and how we look, how that really affects us, And I do believe that women who tend to go to these extreme measures really end up, unfortunately, losing who they are, losing themselves. And I do think that even though we all can mask ourselves and band-aid ourselves and act like nothing's wrong with us, like we're not hurting inside, truly, I know that that's not the case. We're in such a search for perfection that we don't realize that like what we need is the Lord to really fix what's inside of what's hurting us, because there's nothing that's going to bring you joy like God, and I'm telling you as an experienced person who has dealt with a lot, I've dealt with so much that the Lord has allowed, and it's because He wanted me to be a well-rounded person who understands and has compassion and empathy, and honestly just that experience from first-hand experience. And I really wanted to focus. I know that the Lord is calling me to focus my ministry on changing how we perceive ourselves physically too, and physically and emotionally and spiritually, and really just looking to God, for all our needs. And it's really unfortunate when you see people online. I'm not bashing people, I'm just like making a statement, is that like it's really unfortunate when people feel the need to be perfect, that they go into such extremes to like change their bodies, I know right now the big trend is to get, that a BBL and like liposuction and to look picture perfect, like how people present themselves online. And trust me, I know I never used to like taking pictures. I always felt like I didn't look good in pictures. And so I really know that how it feels to feel like we're so critical of ourselves. And as a girl, as a woman who has had a body image issues all my life, I have found such joy in knowing who God is and meeting love, which is the Lord, and learning about love. I honestly know that I've never had love in my life. I've had my mom who loved me, but she loved her pain more. And I'm not bashing my mom because I do love her, but like love that protects is different. Love that really changes, that helps you overcome is different. You know, the love that the Lord has given me is such an empowering type of love where I am so empowered to love who I am, not to bash who I am, you know, because recently I was around my mom and she was just like, you know, you can't change the world. And it was like, well, as a mother, you know, I mean, I'm not always very kind to my kids all the time because they piss me off sometimes. But like, I could never look at my daughter or my kids and say, you can't change the world or you can't do something to change something, you know. And I knew that the enemy used my mom at that time to try to derail me from what the Lord has been speaking to me. And this is why it's so important to know God's voice, because he uses people. And trust me, my mom is a good person, you know. She is a very humble person. But she also allows fear and anxiety to rule her. And like God said, you know, the fearful and unbelieving will be the first to perish. I'm not trying to say that my mom will perish. I'm saying that unfortunately, when bad things happen, the fearful and the unbelieving is the ones who fall for the traps, you know? And that's what God is saying. And unfortunately, you know, my mom still allows things to overrun her. And so those are open doors, you know, from the enemy. And I'm not saying that I'm always like kind to my mom because it's like, it's so frustrating for me because I can't stand when people say they like know God and they just don't fully trust him. And trust me, I know that it sounds harsh, but like, how are you gonna say you trust God if you don't really trust him? You know, it just like doesn't make sense to me. I'm just a very like hard person, I guess, head-on person. So anyway, I know that the Lord has been speaking to me about body image because I was a way that the enemy really kept me stuck. He always made me feel like so insecure. I felt really like ugly. I have always felt that way. And the Lord exposed something in me that I totally forgot about, that really was a moment where I was like, I believed a lie. And it's been years, you know, that was my moment. My life was stolen from me because of that moment. But the Lord has used the body image thing. And I know it's everybody, you know, there's so many women, so many girls that look back and they're like, man, I used to think I was foul when I was in school. I used to feel like I was ugly. And I used to think this and I used to do that, because the enemy is playing the same old trick with all of us when we're all young and naive and not sure of ourselves. What's the first thing that many of us fall into is believing the lies that we're not good enough and we're not pretty, we're not good looking, and we're not this and we're not that. And we believe those lies, you know. And if nobody's there to love on us, if nobody's there to love us unconditionally, then most likely we fall for these lies and we end up just lost, you know, lost in the world, you know. And this is why parenting is so purposeful. It's so important to feed our children with truth and like loving words. And I'm not saying that I'm always perfect about that, because heck no, I'm not. There's times where I'm really upset with my kids fighting, especially fighting now because there's 3 of them now, so it's not easy. But you know, I ask the Lord for grace because I need it, and I need more patience, and I need to be more kind. I am, you know, overwhelmed. I'm exhausted from work, you know, California, it's enough to say there. And, I have the children. There's a lot that weighs me down, that can weigh me down, but I choose to give the Lord my burdens, and he does help me. And I'm learning to be more patient. Needless to say, I do know that God has used everything that I have gone through to really position me where he wants me. And I'm not even at my perfect body, I am not where I want to be with my body, but I know that I show up for myself daily. I show up for me because I love myself, now, and I love who I am, and I'm excited to see who God made, and that's me just being active and showing up. It's like praying. You pray and you show up, and there's a lot of times where you don't, in the beginning, you don't hear the Lord because he's testing you. Are you gonna really trust him? Are you gonna really have faith in somebody you've never seen? And I mean, it's so important because it's so easy to get lost in so much, lost in so much in this world. And I just feel like people talk about surgery like it's nothing. And it's such a big deal because I've always been very intuitive and intuitive with myself. And I really want to stay true to who I am. I want to be. I could never be phony. I have had plenty of opportunities to do that. And I just I couldn't find it in myself to ever find that side of me. I cannot lie for the life of me. And I know it's because God has really trained me to be that way. Because, even if when I was younger and I would do things or say things or try to lie about things, it'd always bite me in the butt. And I knew that God was really keeping me in this narrow path, which was really not easy. Especially when you see people lying and deceiving and being deceitful and getting ahead, and you're just like, my gosh, it's so hard to go the harder way, takes long. But God sees everything, and there is an appointed time where he rewards that fruitful lifestyle. And I'm totally derailing, but what the point is that I'm not where I want to be with myself. I've had 3 kids. I've breastfed all 3 of them. I have cellulite. I have things I don't like about myself. But I know that I couldn't cheat myself to rob myself from me, I just feel personally that if I would go and do something, not that I'm not tempted to do even just uninvasive stuff, it just feels like I would be cheating myself, and I would be cheating the purpose of what God wants me to do, which is to love ourselves. It's not really just about attaining a body weight, a body goal, or trying so hard to, but it is about loving who the Lord has called us to be, and he's the one who helps us to attain those goals, because they become such an idol to many people that he doesn't let that happen because of those reasons, And we all have to understand that the Lord is sovereign, and he knows our hearts, and he knows our intents. He knows the thoughts that we have, and he knows the thoughts of our hearts. And so regardless of everything, he wants us to be true to ourselves and true to who he made us to be. And we have to dig deep inside of ourselves to really allow ourselves to see what's in there. And God helps us, he helps us see things differently and to overcome, and to really be in relationship with him means to be aware of you, of your truth, and of you, what you heals you, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you this and that. He is with you. He's with you, and you don't need to go get surgery. You don't need to go and alter who you are and then band-aid something because we feel hurt inside and we feel like we have to have something to prove ourselves and to attain an image that's not even reality, and I don't want to be fake, and I don't want to ever be that person. And everything I have done has been the long way, and I know that it was for something. It has been for this moment that God wants me to call on his daughters and to speak on his truth on behalf of him, because he made us for a purpose and for a reason, and he can restore us to where we want to be and where he has called us to be.